All right. We are group one and we'll be presenting on the Delft Bistro. Just move those. It's not every day that a historic theater gets remodeled and continues serving the community, only now through food instead of film. When learning about the Delft Bistro, we realized that it's more than just a place to eat. Its purpose is to provide a full service dining experience where people can sit down, enjoy a meal, watch their favorite films, and just connect with each other. And because it's located in the downtown of Marquette, Michigan, it kind of becomes a social hub, strengthening the social environment of the local community. The target audience of the Delft Bistro is anyone who needs a nicely prepared dish in a convenient location. So, local residents on a special occasion, tourists on a nice dinner, companies for catering, or just someone who, again, wants that cinematic dining experience and sustainably created dishes. The bistro matters because it feeds people, creates connection, and has the potential to operate in a way that respects both resources and people. So, going further into it, we had our central sustainability vision, and it's based around the question, why does this business matter? And it's because food service creates waste, it uses resources, and it impacts people. So, by operating responsibly, it has the capability to make a big difference. Sustainability at Delft means reducing their food waste during prep and service, planning staffing efficiently, minimizing unnecessary waste and materials, and prioritizing ethically aligned suppliers. Going into stakeholder and cultural insights, Delft operations involve a variety of stakeholders. The most influential were its employees because they were the people actually implementing these main sustainable practices like composting every day, as well as the managers who translate and implement the company's values into directions, trainings, and expectations for the employees, and ultimately the owners who are setting the tone and deciding which ethical priorities and frameworks would receive their attention and resources. And our team learned that the organizational ethics were not just false advertising or marketing for Delft. At Delft, ethical values were built into everyday activities where employees are taking on responsibilities, transparency, and environmental stewardship as part of their identity at work. And when employees and consumers see alignment between words and actions, as in the employees actually doing these sustainable practices, they trust the organization more. We connected these observations back to ethical theories in the course textbook. First, we have the stakeholder theory, where decisions were clearly being made considering how they impacted employees, consumers, and the environment, not just for profit. Second, we saw virtue ethics through responsibility and transparency, again, actually putting their words into actions. And finally, a duty-based perspective through compliance with those environmental and safety regulations. And overall, Delph demonstrated that ethics are not just fixed rules, but they're personal values and commitments that the restaurant has made clear. Through this case, we saw how stakeholder balance and moral character support real sustainability in organizations. Okay.
Alrighty, then we're going to look at the triple bottom line through our ESG scorecard. So we obviously have environmental, social, and governance. So some key issues that we saw in environmental were waste diversion, and energy efficiency, and environmental certifications. So some current statuses of each of these, composting for waste diversion, there is little to no tracking information given currently at the Delft. Some current status for energy efficiency. We see some solar panels installed and some standard appliances and lighting. And then there's no certifications or staff training for any of those environmental certifications. Some of our proposed targets for these is to have 50% of the waste diverted to the landfill by 2026, making it a total percent of it diverted, updating to energy efficient appliances and LED lighting by 2025, obtaining restaurant green status certification by 2026, some social Key issues that we saw were local hiring. Most of it comes from word of mouth. We have a lot of college students here. Some proposed targets that we hope for local hiring are 75% of new hires will come from the greater Marquette County area by the end of 2025, and then that percent of new hires will reside locally. Community engagement. Currently, there is a lot of events being hosted at the Delft, whether that's the Easter egg stroll or the Pride events that they have. We hope that the Delft will contribute in monthly community events as well. For employee training and retention, there is currently a limited professional document, and we hope by 2025 there is quarterly skills and workshops provided for staff and employees. And then lastly, looking at governance, we see transparency, health, safety, compliance, and ethical sourcing policy. So for employee training retention or for transparency, there's currently, again, no formal reporting or public sustainability updates to be given. And we hope that by the end of 2025, there can be some sort of annual sustainable and financial report sent out. For health and safety compliances, currently there is standard compliancy checks, again, no formal tracking, and we hope that there is zero safety violations by the end of 2025. And then again, looking at the ethical source policy, again, there is no current policy, and we hope to develop a supplier code and conduct by 2026.
For my section, I'm focusing on a few ESG risks and opportunities we identified for the Delft and how our recommendations help address these areas. Looking at the ESG scorecard, there is a lot of things that could help and more opportunities that could come along. They already do a lot of sustainable things like composting and sourcing locally. They are measuring and documenting most of it, and the businesses are, or the business is getting help from it. From there, we saw two opportunities. One is improving transparency around their environmental practices. Delft is already doing the work. They just need to show it a little more clearly. They're very sustainable and environmentally sound. Just a little more data will help us there. And the second opportunity is strengthening their social impact. They host a lot of community events, but organizing these into a more structured program would help highlight how involved they really are. So just getting out to the community and getting events and getting things out to the community, whether it's on their Facebook or just social media stuff, just getting it out there. And then to address these gaps, we recommend these simple strategies. First, it gives the businesses a clear picture of their performances if they have these things. Then second, we suggest clear sustainability communications so customers can see real data behind the practices. And finally, a community impact program that showcases their events and partnerships in a more organized way. Overall, Delft has done a really good job showing these things, and they will continue strengthening their connection with the local community.
Responsible marketing and communications plan. For our responsible marketing piece, I created a redesigned flyer that focuses on the Delft Bistro's real sustainability efforts. The design blends a warm, inviting photo of the actual bar with simple, clear messaging that communicates authenticity. The headline responsibly sourced is supported by a concrete practice like sourcing from local farms, reducing single-use plastics, tracking food waste, and giving back to the community. We intentionally avoided buzzwords and stuck to clear, fact-based claims that the business can actually support. The color palette and layout were chosen to reflect transparency and modern, trustworthy aesthetic. Overall, the flyer communicates sustainability in a way that is honest, visually appealing, and grounded in what the Delft does. Avoiding greenwashing and ethical blind spots. To avoid greenwashing, we focused on making every claim specific and fact-based. Instead of broad or misleading labels like eco-friendly, we explained concrete actions such as sourcing ingredients from nearby Michigan farms, and managing portion sizes to minimize food waste. We also made sure the visuals and language were inclusive and accessible, avoiding stereotypes or overly technical terms. Importantly, we didn't want to exaggerate any environmental or health benefits. Everything in this reflects real, verifiable practices, which was key to ethical communication. Tech and data use policy. Our tech and data policy is centered on transparency and customer trust. We only collect the information needed to run reservations or loyalty programs, nothing extra. So customers choose whether they want to receive updates and will never share or sell their data. We also commit to keeping our privacy explanation simple and visible so guests can understand exactly how their information is used. The practices help build credibility and show that our responsible marketing approach extends beyond visuals into how we manage technology and data.
Okay, now I will walk through our implementation plan, which shows how the Delph can actually put these sustainable ideas into action. We broke the plan into three phases so it's realistic and manageable. Phase one is which covers the first 6 months, focuses on building the foundation. This includes launching a waste tracking system, starting seasonal ethical sourcing, and upgrading lighting and appliances to be more efficient. And my second phase two, from 6 to 12 months, shifts toward the people and the community side. This is where employee onboarding and quarterly sustainability trainings come in, along with creating supplier code of conduct and strengthening partnerships with groups like NMU and local nonprofits. Then phase three, which covers the first 1 to 2 years, focuses on long-term goals. This includes working toward a Green Restaurant Association certification, moving closer to a zero waste model, and pushing a yearly sustainability report so customers and stakeholders can see progress. Overall, this roadmap gives Delp a clear plan that's realistic, measurable, and aligned with their values. On my next slide. To make sure it all just isn't talk, we created a KPI that shows how the Delph can measure its progress. For the environmental side, we're looking for things like reaching 50% waste diversion, tracking energy use every month so they can see the impact of efficiently upgrades over time. On the social side, we focused on community and employees. Some key KPIs here are maintaining 75% local hiring, tracking quarterly training hours for staff, and increasing the number of community partnerships and events each year. For the government's piece, we emphasize transparency. That includes completing an annual sustainable report, having zero safety violations, and making sure suppliers meet the standards in the code of conduct. These KPIs give the Delft a clear way to stay accountable and show the community the improvements they're making. And then the next slide. Um, As we wrap up, I wanted to highlight why Delph already stands out in Marquette. The restaurant has a strong community roots, a commitment to local sourcing and inclusive environmental that makes it more than just a place to eat. With it, the strategies we recommend, the Delph will become even more transparent, efficient, and sustainable. These changes don't just help the restaurant, they strengthen its relationships with customers, employees, and their entire Marquette community. Overall, these recommendations build on what the Delph is already doing while setting up for long-term success. And then next slide. Our final takeaways is that sustainability and profitability can absolutely work together when a business communicates clearly, trains their staff, and invests in responsible sourcing. It builds trust and long-term loyalty. Small changes like waste tracking, community partnerships, or transparent sourcing can create a big impact over time. The Delph already has the foundation. This is just a plan that strengthens it even more. So in the long run, this strategy isn't just good for the environment and the community, it also helps the Delph grow responsibility and stay competitive. That's why we are confident with this plan support the restaurants for year to come. That is it.
Good job, guys.
Nice.